Hey everybody, welcome back to Vinland Saga episode 13. And we ended on quite the cliffhanger last time, I think, with Thorfinn and our band, of Walish people getting ambushed by possibly their own allies who might have made a deal with somebody, like maybe the English crown or something. We'll have to see what's happening there, but they got ambushed and they're all up on high ground, and we'll have to see how that continues. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. That's basically it. Get our asses into the episode. You know the deal. Cut version here, picture-in-picture version on Patreon if you want to enjoy it, though. I mean, we'll get it through relatively well, at least for this season on Vinland Saga. Let's get ready to watch the episode. Vinland Saga episode 13 starts in 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Ooh, who are we carrying? Wait, who are you? Somebody is very, almost dead.
Haha, もうすぐ死ぬ。故郷帰りたい。言った。連れてきた。
Wait. Oh, no, wait. Oh, I just thought we were maybe in the wrong, season, but apparently not? Apparently, this is the second part of this. We'll just wind it back and watch it again, okay? I was gonna say somebody's very pale, and that is true here. Look at that. Child of a hero. Okay. So there's people here, they look very, Welsh, right? He looks like the other guy. Maybe it's when he was younger. And this guy looks Danish, Scandinavian looking. Okay. New song, new OP. Let's go. Ooh, I like the style with the card and right, with the map. And we got the an Iceland here, Greenland, Vinland, Asalat. Who are you? Are you Asalat? And we got the... Alright. Ragnar. Thorfinn, of course. So many people. I mean, so far I've known almost everybody in here. Crazy. Okay, Thorkel. Was Asalat missing an eye? And they're gone, like they died or something. Or maybe they vanished. Okay, right into the action. 1013 AD. Resistance in Wessex has been defeated. Okay, so England will be conquered. Bro is old.
クヌートだ。あれは今どこに？
クヌート殿下率いる包囲軍はトロケルの一団に撃破された後、消息が途絶えております。マールバラで交戦との情報も入っており、 現地兵と合流した可能性もありますが、その安否につきましては今のところ。
世の大事な息子だ。状況が分かり次第すぐに伝えよ。
He says he is my dear son, but he sounds very untouched by it. Maybe because he thinks he has to appear that way. Composed.
俺見たことか言わんこっちゃない。くそ。落ち着け野郎ども。いいか放射するんじゃねえぞ。
Yeah, his eyes are blue, so that was probably
ブリケニオクのご使者よ。帰国の歓迎はちと手荒いな。
that was probably Ocelot.
我らの言葉を話すか万人よ。貴様らデーン人は言葉の通じぬけだものだと聞いていたがな。
兵を引け。朝デーン人相手にことを構えても我らウェールズに益はない。
グラティアヌス、私はウェールズ諸王国全体の行く末をおもんぱかるあなたを尊敬している。だが我々はあなたとは少し考え方が違うのだ。デーンの王子とどんな約束を交わすというのだ。所詮は蛮族。道理は通じぬ。
何わめいてんだあの野郎。
やんのかやんねえのかはっきりしろや。
Bro's like, tell me, are we fighting or not?
言葉わかんのかビョル。
いやわかんねえけどよ、その木なら最初の矢で死人が出てたはずだぜ。
Yeah.
はったり聞かせて話し合いを有利に進めようって腹じゃねえの。
そういうもんか。
貴様らのイングランドとの戦はつぶさに見てきたぞ。この10年で3度かの国と休戦協定を結び、それらをことごとく破ってきた。
They keep conquering.
イングランドのような愚は犯さぬ。王子を捕らえ我らが盾とする。
Bargaining chip.
といえど世継ぎは可愛かろう。
すまんなアシェラット。
いいえ、どうせ茶番です。ごねてみせて出方を見ているんでしょう。ヤギも狼の皮をかぶらねば草もはめぬ時代です。
Okay.
登場しますよ。
教えるのかお前の計画を。
それもいいでしょうが、茶番がやりたいなら少し付き合ってやるのも一興かと。者どもしかと見よ。
He looks so puzzled.
方こそデンマーク国王スベン陛下のご子息クヌート殿下である。これより殿下がその方らにお言葉をくださる。かしこまって聞くがよい。さあ殿下、一発景気のいい短歌を。何でもいいんですよ。似てくるぞとかなんとか、あの無礼者どもに不快感を表明してやってください。あなたが言えば奴ら金玉縮み上がって道を譲るでしょう。殿下。
Alright.
殿下は人前で話されるのがお嫌いなのだ。ここはわしが。なりません、ラグナル殿。何？たとえお若くとも一国の王子、果たすべき責任がございます。今この場にいるすべての者が王子殿下の御ために動いているのです。
He needs to inspire, otherwise he's not worthy, right?
優しい方なのだ。
He might be, but even a gentle soul.
だから無用の喧嘩にならねえように場を収めてくれっつってんでしょうが。貝みてえに押し黙っててスベン王の跡目が務まるとお思いですか。黙れ。貴様らに殿下の何がわかる。王宮は親子兄弟が相食らう狐の巣だ。病がちだった殿下がその中を生き延びるのにどれほど苦労なさったか。お心を殺し息を殺し目立たぬようにして今日までやってこられたのだ。 それでも次々貴様ら
that is really cool.
殿下を利用せんとすり寄ってくる。
But the survival mechanism doesn't work anymore, does
殿
it?
下がどのように振る舞われようとも貴様ごときが口を出すことは許されぬ。
What will become of him when you're not here anymore, Ragnar? Or
どうした
Ragnar?
何を言い争っておるか。クヌート王子は何と言っておる。
グラティアヌス殿、彼らに計画を伝えます。
よかろう。私も行こ
野郎ども、その場で待て。奴らの大将と話しつけてくっからよ。ラグナル殿、お言葉ごもっともです。殿下の恩義を案ずるあまり、つい出過ぎたことを申しました。殿下もどうかご容赦くださいませ。
Askeladd is very smart. He has some thoughts on that. It's interesting how he is so different from the prince.
お前本当に俺とタメか。
They are so different.
う。あの男、ラグナルと言ったか。
は
ひな鳥もいつかは巣立つということを知らんな。あれではかえってひなに良くない。
Exactly.
計画のためにお前のやるべきことは多いようだな。まずはひなを巣立たせることか。
はあ、心得ております。
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second. This is a super interesting setup. Because what we have here is a classic example. I can't name you the exact disorder if you want, right? Because it's like, there's no really, like, I mean, disorders are defined by their dysfunctionality, right? And in this case, they would be dysfunctional, right? He has, I wouldn't say social anxiety in that way, right? He has, maybe the easiest thing would be a personality disorder. So he grew up in an environment that was very harsh. It was like very backstabby and like treacherous and whatnot. And Ragnar is right in seeing that his survival strategy that worked out for most of this time is to make himself as small as possible. Don't make himself a target, right? Just get by without being noticed. Stifle your breath, as Ragnar says. And that is true, right? He's appearing very meek, very like non-threatening, which would probably make most of the other heirs and possible like suitors for the throne and like people who are trying to become king or something big think he is not a threat. They'd be like, he is not fit to be a king ever, so who cares if he lives or not? Right? He's sickly, he's weak. He can't speak to people, he doesn't have the charisma, right? Maybe he has, right? Maybe he would have. And here's the thing, like, I don't know how long that's been going on with Ragnar, but the problem is he's protecting him. And in the beginning, like when he was a child, it probably worked very, very well. And even if he's a teenager, right, he's been sheltering him from having to perform duties, having to do things that would put him out of his comfort zone. So what the prince had is, on the one hand, a very adaptive survival strategy, and on the other hand, a person who is his protector, who speaks for him and on behalf of him, who helps him get along and survive when his own survival strategy doesn't work. Now here's the problem. First of all, Ragnar is gonna die one day. Second problem is there is certain situations, especially in the social and cultural hierarchy of these times, especially when it comes to communication between leaders of different countries, and especially also when it comes to the culture of the Vikings themselves, that this is going to be detrimental for him. He needs to inspire his troops. He needs to be able to rally and gather those people together and make them believe that he can lead the country to a place where people will be prosperous and there will be a promising future that they all want to see. And that future needs to be at least partially in line with the cultural, with what the culture itself regards as success and happiness and satisfaction in life, right? Now what happens here now is that Ragnar is defending the prince and sheltering him, even though these are essential skills that he has to learn. He has to learn how to stand up for himself. He has to learn how to talk to people, speak to them, right? Converse with them eye to eye, and then converse with them from a position of leadership, right? To inspire them. And you can't do that if you hide behind the mantle of your royal guard or whatever you want to call it, right? Of your advisor. This is maladaptive behavior in this case. I mean, it wouldn't be if he was a normal-ass citizen who's working a normal-ass job. He could just be working his job, right? And he'll listen to everything that his superiors say, and then he would be fine, right? But he has a certain social standing. He is the first heir, and he's supposed to take up the responsibility of the throne. And if he isn't, he probably will have somewhat of a miserable life, or be killed even, for the succession. Or at the very least, it will lead to a lot of his people not believing in him and not believing in the future of the country, and trying to form their own factions, or trying to help another heir overthrow and take the throne for themselves. So as a result of the social standing that he's at and the unique position and role that he's at socially, what he needs, or what is required of him, is at the very least a demeanor, right? Or an outward presence that requires talking to his people, that requires speaking from a position of strength, sometimes bluffing that he is cruel or strong, or, right? That he has fortitude, that he has strength of will. And at the moment, he's signaling the exact opposite, because it has been his main survival strategy that worked for most of this time. The problem is when these survival strategies, these ways to these ways of personality constructs, basically the way to act in certain situations, right? In interactions with other people. If that has been a very effective strategy at some point in time, right? So much so that it defines a big part of who you are, and then it becomes very, very ineffective in ensuring your survival and success, then this would be considered maladaptive. And oftentimes these kind of patterns in behavior do fall in the area of personality disorders. I think it's probably insecure avoidant or something along those lines, right? You have somebody who's very dependent, avoidant. Yeah, and that is a problem. By sheltering the prince. He is preventing the prince from feeling the pressure and kind of having the need to adapt to these new circumstances. So he's keeping up the conditions that are responsible for the disorder in a way. He's keeping up the conditions by not allowing him to meet direct adversity, which would force him to adapt or fail, right? Like, obviously, there is this is coming from a good place in Ragnar's case, because he's worried about Canute, because he's like, dude, this guy, he can't, right? This is not the way he is, and he can't, and he wants to protect him from that. Protect him from the harshness of the world, protect him from having to change if he doesn't want to. The problem is, I think there is a way for the prince to actually develop these skills, right? Talking to his people, inspiring them, appearing very strong and having a strong conviction to the outside, right? And at the same time, keeping that inner core of pacifism and compassion towards others, right? I think that is possible, but only possible if the prince is allowed to meet some kind of adversity. And I think this is where Thorfinn comes in, right? Thorfinn is almost the polar opposite of the prince. He is prone to violence. He was that even before his trauma. He was aggressive and all of that. He's always dreamed of being a great warrior and having glory and whatnot. He's always been this kind of guy, right? But now through the trauma, he's been even more aggressive, abrasive, strong to the outside, right? Seemingly non-caring, seemingly not having any weak emotions, as they were seen in those times, and as they are sometimes seen today as well, right? Showing no vulnerabilities, showing no weakness in that sense. And having that kind of mindset that how Canute is acting is kind of pathetic, as he said just now. So there's gonna be this clash, and if they are allowed to interact more with one another, there is going to be conflict, there's going to be an exchange of opinions, morals, ideals, and demeanors. Thorfinn can possibly warm up and become a little bit more soft and maybe a little bit more honest with his own feelings. And Canute can possibly learn from Thorfinn how to put your foot down, right? How to be a little bit more like stand in for yourself, right? Stand up for yourself. But let's continue.
下がれ、護衛はいらぬ。ですが、二度言わせる気か？兵に守られねば話もできぬと思われては、我が王家の恥だ。もっとだ。その5倍離れろ。他の者にも伝えろ。さてと、アシェラットと言ったかね。事情はわからんでもないが、困るんだよね、実際。
話はついてると聞いたんだが。
書簡で突然領内の通行許可と兵糧を求められてもね、2つ返事はできないんだよ。弱小といえど対面ってものがあるからね。我が王家にも。貴殿らに便宜を図ることでどういう見返りがあるのか、対等な立場での取引だと確認しとかんことにはね。下の者たちは王が100人程度のデーン人にビビっていると思われかねん。
Yeah.
確かにな。 我々の要求するまま答えていてはあなた方も格好がつかん。配慮にかけたことをお詫びしよう。
帰国への書簡を書いたのはこの私だ。見返りについて証述しないのは機密保持のためと記したはずだが。
But now we shared those
読みまし
terms.
た。それでは伺いましょうか。その機密について。
一ついいかな。俺の提示する見返りの内容によっちゃ戦闘になることもあり得るかね、アッサー殿。
そういじめんでくれよ。デンマーク王を怒らせようものならこんな小国などひとたまりもないのはよくわかってる。
失礼した。いや何、確認したまでさ。
不思議なやつだ。
誰が？
そりゃおめえ、アシュラッドだよ。ウェールズの言葉を話せるなんて知らなかった。
He didn't.
一番子さんのあんたにも知らねえことがあるんだな。
バカ言え。知らんことばかりよ。知ってることといや、野郎がデンマーク人だってことぐらいだ。
He has so many secrets.
水くせえ野郎だ。十何年も一緒にやってきて何も話はしねえ。
That is kind of almost a betrayal of trust for him.
でけえ図体して。
うるせえな。喧嘩なら買うぞ。
まあ落ち着けよ。いいじゃねえか。あいつはいい狩猟だ。月もある。稼がせてくれるんなら心情がどうでも俺はついてくぜ。
Different area, like different levels of thinking on that. Bjorn wants to have trust between the two of them. And we don't see what the deal is.
直系のリディア様の子だ。このアシェラッドには我らローマンケルトの偉大なる指導者の血が受け継がれている。
Okay, that's his connection.
貴殿はデーン人ではないのか。
ウェールズとデーンの根血だ。
Half.
父オラフはかつてウェールズ沿岸を略奪し、その際リディアを愛称としてさらった。生まれたのが俺だ。
古ブリタニアの軍神の血脈は絶えたと聞いていた。貴殿がアルトリウス公の子孫だと。
Athorian.
5世紀から6世紀にかけて活躍したイギリス先住ケルト人国家ブリタニアの軍団総指揮官である。516年、信仰著しいサクソン人、後のイングランド人の軍勢をベイドンヒルの戦いにおいて打ち破り、ブリタニアに平和をもたらした。後世に語り継がれ、アーサー王伝説の原型になったとされる人物である。
Stone and sword.
貴殿の話、信ずるに足る証はあるか。
私だ。この男は14歳の時、リディア様と共にウェールズを訪れ、初めて私と会った。
Yeah, that's the scene.
月のない人だったよ。長いこと親父の寝室で飼われ、病を得てからは馬小屋で飼われていた。
おいたわしい。それにしても偉大なる血統最後の一人がデーン人との根血とは。
そこだよ、アッサー殿。根血だからこそだ。
What are you cooking,
デーン
dude?
人に溶け込んでいる。つまりウェールズはデンマーク軍内に俺という工作員を持つことになる。
He wants to be a spy for the
デンマーク王にしたてあれば俺も国政の要職につける。そうすりゃウェールズへの不可侵条約を結ばせることすらできる。
A long-term peace treaty.
この地一歩も踏み入れさせん。
He wants to save the land that his mother's from. Is he bullshitting them or is he like serious? Like that could be a serious motivation for him. But I don't know.
アッサー様が笑っておられるぞ。
着物太いお方だ。
一つ懸念がある。
Okay.
デーン人の中で生まれ育った貴殿。
Yeah.
デーンの血よりアルトリウス公の血が常に勝ると言い切れるかね。
その辺は信じてもらうしかないな。まあ、血の問題を別にしても、俺はデーン人が嫌いだ。
He does. Do I believe that?
断る。武器を手放すなどありえぬ。この国を通行する間、連中の捕虜になったふりをするだけです。国境で追放されるとき、武器は返されます。それで彼らのメンツは保たれます。不思議でならん。なぜ貴様の部下は命令にホイホイ従うのだ。
They trust him.
すごいでしょう。これでも結構部下に信頼されてるんです。おいトロフィー、お前もだ。
ざけんなハゲ。
信頼か。こいつは別です。クソガキめ。
勘違いするなとんがり。俺はこの
Cornet.
敵だ。
敵？ああ、分かった分かった。あんた方は結構二人ぐらいは多めに見てくれるでしょう。よし。
I don't know if I believe that. They should hide the weapons, right? At least.
デーン人だって？アッサー様が捕らえなすったらしいぞ。
Savage monsters by the look of them. They have very, like, rough faces.
石投げてみるか。やめろバカ。て、ムカつきやつらだぜ。心中扱いか俺ら。見てんじゃねえぞタコが。食うぞこら。
Thorfinn's like, whatever, dude.
見てんじゃねえよお姫様。言いてえことはてめえの口で言えや。舌がねえのか。
He's so abrasive.
僕は臆病で喋らないわけじゃないんだ。
Alright.
慎重なんだ。慎重にしないといけないんだ。僕は王子だ。そなたたちとは違うのだ。僕の発言には政治的な意味が生じるのだ。異国においてはなおさら
The
だ。
voice of a boy.
父王陛下のお許しもなく、不可侵条約だの、不快感の表明だの、できるわけがない。
Ooh, there's some strength in that.
僕は慎重なのだ。
It's kind of an excuse, but you're not wrong entirely.
そこマシな言い訳言うじゃねえか。おつむは垂れてるようだなお姫様。
この無礼者。
Ooh, that stings, huh?
今まで僕にこんな態度を取る者などいなかった。
ならいい経験じゃねえか。
発言を取り消せ。言い訳などではない。お前などに王族の苦労の何がわかる。
わめくんじゃねえよ、座ってろ。
わめいてなどおらぬ。僕は自分の発言の正しさを主張しているだけだ。
はいはい、わかったって。
大体なんだその態度は。
Bro's like,
なんと心得る。
わし以外の者と話されるとは。
つもりはね。
a peer, right? Somebody who's on eye level, somebody who's the same age as you, right? That's also something that I was just thinking of. This is a prince. He probably has been surrounded 90% by people who are older than him. Yes, sure, he had maybe like a brother or a sister or like younger brother, sister, whatever. But I think he has a younger brother. We heard that in the first episode that he was in. But he has been surrounded mostly by people who are older than him and stronger than him, more wise and experienced than him, and maybe wanted to harm him politically or like on a reputational level, whatever. And then he has his father who's always like, be careful about what you say, it has political weight, right? Probably. So it's super interesting. I mean, probably Ragnar too, although Ragnar probably expressed it in a more in a more amicable way, in a more like soft way. But still, he's been surrounded, but he barely probably played with people who are just his age, right? Grew up with them or whatever. Isolated, royal family, protected because he could be assassinated, all of these things, right? And now he meets somewhat of a peasant, right? A warrior who's just his age, like a teenager dealing with his own shit. And this guy is not afraid to speak to him because, like, I have not pledged any loyalty towards you. I want to kill this guy, Askarat, and once I'm done doing that, I do what I want, right? I probably go home to my father's village and whatnot and see if my mother and my sister and everybody is okay, right? So there's like, he doesn't care about the political implications of like, and he's too proud, like too prideful to like hot-blooded to actually care about being punished or attacked or even killed for disrespecting royalty. And he doesn't have a lot of respect for the prince because the prince seemed very, very like weak and meek and all of that up until now. So it's really cool that he's like just throwing these jabs, and some of them hurt, right? Some of them hurt. It's like, this guy, he's my age, he doesn't respect me, he thinks I'm a wimp, right? So he's like, when an adult says that, it's like putting you down because like they have more experience, they're stronger than you, whatever, right? They're older than you, which is also another connotation of like having respect for your elders and whatnot. So if somebody who's older than you is giving you criticism, telling you you're a wimp or whatever, you're a coward, then it's like, oh, that must be true. In his case, right? It's not always the case, but in his case, oh, that must be true. I guess I'm kind of a coward. And even though you feel bad about it, and maybe you feel you're not really, or you don't want to be, this is not something you push back on. Plus, most adults that might have not said that to him have not said that to him or antagonized him because he's royalty and you need to respect royalty if you're of lower standing. So there's that as well. And now there comes this punk kid who's like, look at you, you little pathetic wimp, right? And then he's like, fuck you, I'm not pathetic, okay? Shut up. And when he pushes back, Thorfinn is not like, whatever he's like, I guess you can talk. Right? He's more like, and it's very interesting how Thorfinn opens up to him more than like anybody else of like the mercenary band, because he's kind of in the same boat. They're all older than him. And Aselat is his sworn arch enemy, so he doesn't want to get chummy with him. So he's kind of like the prince is the only person he can disrespect without, like, with less danger, right? At the moment, especially. And he's the only one who is kind of like same age and whatnot. So it's really interesting how uniquely he interacts with him. Okay. So we're writing an agreement. In the dark of the night, or I don't know, like, it's England, right? It's always dark. It's raining. It's not right, but you know what I mean.
Yuki.
Snow. Feels like home, huh?
早く進めんのか。このままでは雪に振り込められるぞ。たく、うるせえな。マーシア伯領の北端を横断して、そこから本陣ゲインズバラを目指しましょう。
ゲインズバラ、OK。
一は早く着く。敵の領地を進むというのか。ウェールズの山の中で雪に振り込められたら身動きが取れなくなる。なに、心配いりませんよ。敵の本拠地からは遠いですし。だが、兵糧はどうする。地方領主どもが電人に力を貸すとは思えん。平気平気。それもちゃんと考えてますって。
Are we going to hunt? Or is there some other parties up his sleeve?
方向転換だ。ぐずぐずするな。
マジで急に道変えるのかよ。
心配すんな。アシュラッドの判断に間違いはねえ。
That's the thing, like, Askeladd gets a lot of respect because he's brought them this far. I do wonder if he really harbors these feelings of, like, hate. Ooh, okay, okay. Bounded by bones drifting along the silent winds. Interesting, it's like a rider in the sky. Unceasing echoes of voices won't even ever fade. We don't know what lies ahead. Shared perspectives. Different realities, though. Drown. Oh, no! Holy shit. Yet another Milet song that I know now. Different, very different from like the Frieren stuff. I like it. An answer that affords no footing. Right, I'm swimming. Oh, I like this idea. Right, first we got Aimer and now we got Milet or Millet. I don't know. She sounds French to me. And like I know she's like Japanese. I'm just saying like she sounds like her artist's name sounds French to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Alrighty then. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay, first moment. Askeladd, the half Dane, half Welsh, arriving with his mother. I don't have reason to believe that's a lie in some capacity. And this is how they met. And this is why he trusts him. We got this new oh, this is beautiful. Look at that. The water surface reflecting the sky perfectly. The sun shining. It looks like a sunrise rather than a sunset. Because of the colors. The way the trees grow on those land surface areas. You get like the perfect reflection of the trees in the water. It's very rare, but I've had moments like this. Scenes like this. There's a couple of spots from where I'm from where you can see something like this and it's always magic. Using this as like the setup for the OP is insane, especially if you think about like reflection, development, all of that. also just like the beauty of the land that we move through in this war-torn series. It's kind of a stark contrast, right? You got the beauty on the one hand, and you got like the bloody history of men on the other hand. And then we have the fires of war consuming, right? Saxony or Saxon. German, Frankish. Interesting that it's like, it reads German. I would say, isn't it Germain? I don't know. Because like, this is the English content, right? No, I'm wrong, right? We got like the Germanic territory, we got like Saxon. The Saxons came over to the, and then they like became the Anglo-Saxons, right? Because now they're on the English continent. And then we got the Frankish down here, right? And the warring factions are more varied than I was like thinking when I originally was thinking about it, right? So we got the Franks over there fighting for stuff. Obviously, France was always involved in stuff like that. We got the Saxons, which have reigned England for a long time, right? And then we've got like the Danes coming in, which Danish territory is a little bit, right? Look at that, right? So you got like Denmark is up there, which is above Germany, right? What is Germany today? We got the Rhine, which is one of the biggest rivers in all of Europe, like the biggest actually, going through half of Europe and flowing into the sea at the Netherlands. We got Scotland and Wales there. We got like, yeah, I mean, I guess like Denmark was more than just, yeah, we got Denmark here, then we got like Norway and Finland and Sweden up there. Yeah, the Elbe, I know that one too, that's in Germany today as well. E13, I don't know that one. And, yeah, and the Celtic Sea back then. The Celtic Sea, I mean, amazing. And we got like the arrows coming down from up there, from like Denmark, Norway. Cool stuff. And obviously we got the second thing, which is like going past, right? Settling over there. Got like Shetland Islands, Faroe Islands. And then we're going up to Iceland. Iceland is greenish, right? It's still very cold, but it's greenish. It's still got like lush lands, but now we see like the slaves and all of that stuff. And then we got Greenland up there, which is the continent that Trump wants right now, KW. And then we go down to Newfoundland and Vinland. Vinland, which is, what would Vinland be today? It's like I'm just looking if I can figure it out. I mean, it must be America, but maybe it's because like that's probably Alaska, right? If you look at like where Greenland lies, that's probably Alaska. Markland, Labrador. Not sure. Newfoundland. I used to know where Newfoundland is exactly. Maybe out of Vinland. I can't figure it out properly. But yeah, we got Askeladd in the flesh over here. And we got her running in the snow. Like a soft veil. It's almost like maybe he's like, Askeladd is opening his eyes, he's looking, and then he's seeing like that cold land where possibly his mother is running, and then the wind blows and suddenly they're all gone. And then we have that, which is Canute in the middle, Ragnar to the right, and we got somebody to the left who looks like Canute, but a lot more, like, has kind of the same soft eyes, but the facial expression shows him almost like more aggressive, more assertive. So either it is Canute later on, right? What becomes of him, or it is his brother, right? We got like Canute almost snowed in, right? Really cold. Oh, that's so cute. Ragnar being with Canute, like just like sledding down. That's so fucking cute. And we had him crying, and Ragnar turning around and leaving. Maybe symbolism for him dying down the line, which is what I'm like afraid of. Where I'm like, if you don't learn your skills and whatnot, you're gonna be in big trouble when that happens. At Thorfinn bloody on the battlefield, and suddenly the snow is coming in. He's the lone wolf. That makes perfect sense. And then we got the memories of Papa. We got those two boys and the priest, right? Religion plays a role here. You got, I forgot your name and I don't care. Loki. And then we got Prince Swain, King Swain, the old bastard. We got Bjorn, and we got Leif still somewhere out there. Got a girl, right? Looking at the moon in a cold winter's night. And we got a hand, red from the cold, holding a snowball formed. Needed. And that goes over into somebody picking an apple from the tree of knowledge, maybe. And then the apple falling from the tree, KW. Thorfinn barely, like, almost dying and seeing his father be in Vinland, I guess. And now we go in with an axe, Thorkel versus Thorfinn. Askeladd, I don't know if he's missing an eye or if that's just how he's shaded, right? It's like, right, he's like super clever and whatnot, and like the eye is gouged out for us, or not visible, because it's like he's hiding intentions, he's hiding plans, he's clever, right? Or if that is actually he loses his eye at some point. We got Bjorn going absolutely berserk, and we got a more determined Canute, right? The eyes are still soft, but we're missing the eyelashes. We're seeing more crow's feet, which means he's a little bit older probably, or more worn down. His expression is less fearful and more determined. So, very interesting. Thorfinn fighting for his life, barely like alive, dying. Going after Askeladd and Canute, who are both vanishing in a storm. And then we're like making our way to a snowed-in town of some sort. Yeah. Wow, really cool, right? The time is 113 AD, and we're making headway in Wessex, where it's only a matter of time until we have the entire land. And we hear later on, we keep doing like peace treaties, and then we keep breaking the peace treaties. But because we're such a strong force, whenever we start doing peace treaties, people have to accept, because they're like, we're worn down, we're gonna lose anyway. So the peace treaty is like a preferable way, because we're kind of like delaying the inevitable. We get the London stuff, and that's the thing. He's my dear son. We don't see his eyes, we don't know. The way he's talking is very monotone, so it feels like there's no real emotion in there. So the question is this important to him? And he just thinks he has to, he can't show the emotion that really goes into it? Or is it more of a like, this guy like is my legacy? He's not my son, my dear son, as he's saying here, right? To invoke some kind of social convention and association with emotion, but more of a, he's my lineage, right? I need to like make sure I have all my assets, right? Because it doesn't sound very emotional. But yeah, we haven't seen this guy much. He's just like a very, very absent character whose motives we don't know, and we haven't seen into his eyes properly, at least not in the show itself. So we don't know what does he even care about aside from conquering stuff and acquiring riches and whatnot. We talked about this. It's not really impressive from an animation standpoint as opposed to the other moments that we had in the show. We have some cool shots here, right? Like very nice lighting on his face. I think it's very interesting. He's like dumbfounded, like, what? I'm supposed to speak? And Askeladd, I think Askeladd's plan here was like, I don't even need to share my plan necessarily if Canute commands a certain presence. Now the question I have is, are his plans real or are they not? Right? Are these plans real or are they not? Is the test for the Danish real? I mean, he doesn't seem to share a lot of stuff with Björn that like that he can speak Welsh, that right, his past aside from him being Danish to some degree. So the question is he keeping himself closed off to all of these men because he despises them? Or because he despises the Danish in general, even if it's not them specifically? Because he uses them? Or is it to keep himself invulnerable towards them, right? And keep like up this image of the perfect leader. Like a lot of people do follow him because they're like, who cares? He's a good leader, right? And Björn is like, I want more than that, right? I'm his top lieutenant. And he's talking about that, right? A Thorian legend, which is insane if he's really from that lineage. I don't know if he's lying here, that's the question. Really cool shots because we got the Welsh leader on one side, and then we mirror the shot by putting Askeladd on the other side. Right. And he wants to be an agent. It's very interesting how we got Askeladd's broad shoulders kind of dominating the space while the two Welsh leaders are on the left and on the right of him when he's explaining that. Almost like he's the one in charge in this conversation. Treaty of non-aggression with Wales. And then we have these moving clouds where he's like, I won't let them take even one step into this land. It's almost like this is what's moving. At least that's what the show wants us to believe. I don't know if he's lying or not. I think feeling-wise, in terms of what the show presents to us, no, he's not. This is his motivation. But we know Askeladd is clever, right? And the men are like, oh, he has the heart of a lion. He laughs in the face of adversity. Right. He's born and raised with the Danes. What tells me that you're not, like, that your heart isn't with them? And he's like, well, they treated my mother like that. Right? He was held just like in the bedroom to be a concubine. And then when she was getting sick, she was just put into the stables like livestock. I love how we're using, like, we're panning over the men, and then we have this cool shot with like them down below and us on the hill. I despise the Danes. And he's very defensive in his posture. But it doesn't have to say anything, right? That can be an expression of, this is a serious topic for me, right? But it can appear defensive, right? I'm justifying myself here. Which is reasonable, right? He's being asked, what about your loyalty? And he's like, well, I despise the Danes. I mean, he didn't trust Loki when he hired him, so there's that. And he's always kind of just trying. I mean, he's on the side of the Danes, but he is. I wonder if that's his goal, really. That he's like, look, this new prince, Canute, whatever. We could do something with him, and then maybe we can ensure that the land I come from is kind of safe. But I don't know where this motivation is coming from. I don't know enough of his background to actually say, okay, this is valid. Or if there's more that Ocelot is not telling us right now, that plays a role in that and could determine future decisions that he makes and future plans that he has. Really cool shot here. I love that. That too, right? Like Thorfinn just leaning, being like, fucking idiot. Right? He's like, that is a very arrogant lean, because he's being very defenseless, right? If somebody were to attack him or slap him or like put a knife to his throat, he would be relatively defenseless, but he feels very secure right now. So he's like, but he's like putting his face off. He's like, but he's disrespecting. And this is riling him up. Even with a soft demeanor, he's like, fuck you, dude. You have no idea. And everybody's surprised as fuck that he's fighting with him like this is a teenage squabble. Really like snow. Saw that in the OP that he's like sledding with Ragnar. So happy memories, maybe. He's like, I have a plan for procuring supplies, so I wonder what they're doing, if they're hunting or if there's some other stuff that he's got in his back pocket. We're taking our leave for now. Do you like okay, that's why it's a rider in the sky. It's like a Valkyrie. Okay, makes sense. Right, we got the spear coming out, a really cool shot, right? Like the spear splitting the frame in half, and we got the rider passing by those like spears on the battlefield. Feet marching, right? Armies marching. It's so much like ships sailing across the ocean. A lot of conflict, a lot of clashes. We got Thorfinn slicing somebody up. We got Swain in front of his like. This reminds me of like the shot in the Dark Souls 1 intro cinematic where Gwyn is like standing with his sword, and then we pan out to his loyal knights. The song is emotional too. It's really cool. And then Valhalla, my dudes. Yeah, that was Vinland Saga, episode 13. Very entertaining episode, very cool episode, especially when it comes to like potential things that could be happening down the line. Ocelot's new revealed motivation, if it turns out to be absolutely true. Even if not only parts of it are true, which is oftentimes how you tell a good lie, by sprinkling in some truth into it. Even if part of it is true, it gives us a little bit of characterization of who is Ocelot even and what does he want. And then we got the cool moments between like with Ragnar and the prince, like protecting him, sheltering him, and then we like there's a lot of development that needs to be happening, and we got this neat moment between the prince and Thorfinn. So a lot of cool setup, a lot of interesting things that could lead to even more interesting developments down the line. Yeah. If you liked this video, it would be cool if you left me a like, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Other than that, check out my Patreon if you want to, and my Discord channel, and I'll see you on the next one.